I've been covering XRP for years, and I've never seen a setup quite like this. BlackRock's latest move? It's not what it seems. And if you understand it now, you could be miles ahead of the herd when the next wave hits. Because what looks like a pullback might actually be the most bullish signal we've had in years. And once you see the full picture, you'll realize why August 2025 could go down as a turning point for XRP. But to understand why this matters, we need to start with the single biggest obstacle that's now been completely removed. Just 2 days ago, August 8, 2025, the Ripple vs. SEC case finally ended. No appeals, no hidden traps. Done. Ripple pays a $125 million fine, pocket change compared to the scale they operate at, and in exchange, all restrictions vanish. XRP is locked in as not a security, which means institutions can now integrate without fear of sudden legal ambushes. Markets reacted instantly, XRP spiked over 11%, touching $3.30. But price is just the surface. The deeper impact is that the floodgates for US banks, hedge funds, and payment providers are now wide open. And that's exactly when BlackRock steps into the story, but not in the way most people think. Here's the headline making the rounds. BlackRock has no plans for an XRP ETF at this time. To the average reader, that sounds like game over. But history tells a different story. This is the exact playbook they used before the Bitcoin ETF. First, public denial. Then silence. Then an out-of-nowhere filing that caught everyone off guard. ETF analyst Eric Balchunas, one of the most accurate in the space, puts XRP ETF approval odds at 95% by year-end. But here's where things get interesting, because while the public statement says no plans, their actions tell a completely different story. Behind the scenes, we've seen moves that don't happen by accident. The head of digital assets at BlackRock is confirmed for Ripple Swell 2025. Former Ripple execs now in BlackRock leadership. Long-standing board-level connections between both companies. If there was really no interest, none of these chess moves would be in play. This is quiet positioning, and it's all lining up with one key date. Because in just 5 days, we hit a moment that could flip the switch for institutional XRP. On August 15th, Ripple and the SEC will file a joint status report, closing every legal thread. Once that happens, US institutions lose their last compliance excuse. That's exactly when ETF filings historically explode, just like Bitcoin in 2024, when the first applications dropped days after clarity hit. And this is why the current setup is so rare. Because all the key dominoes are lined up before the public realizes what's coming. Think back to 2017 and 2021, the biggest XRP run started before the headlines, in those quiet moments when the crowd wasn't paying attention. Right now, we have white checkmark emoji, legal clarity. Institutional green light. BlackRock proximity. A fixed date that could trigger filings. That's the kind of alignment you only see once or twice a decade. But this also means we could see the same playbook BlackRock used for Bitcoin, and if that happens, things move fast. BlackRock doesn't chase hype, they create it. Before Bitcoin's ETF, they spent months in stealth mode, building infrastructure, testing custody, hiring talent. Now we're seeing similar patterns for XRP. Strategic public denials to keep attention low. Private networking with Ripple. Quiet groundwork so they can launch immediately when ready. And all of this is happening in the perfect macro environment. The US M2 money supply is at record highs, over $22 trillion. Historically, fresh liquidity flowing into markets boosts altcoins far more than Bitcoin. With Bitcoin dominance near 55%, a break lower could mean billions rotating directly into large cap alts, with XRP at the front of the line. Which brings us to the levels I'm watching right now. Because they could flip this from setup to full breakout in weeks. Short term, $3.50 and the all-time high at $3.66 are the key gates. Break those, and $5 becomes a realistic short-term magnet. Long term, an XRP ETF this cycle? That could push us toward $10, and some models see higher. The biggest danger? Waiting for confirmation. By the time the ETF headline is on CNBC, the easy entry will be gone, just like Bitcoin's ETF run, where 40% of the move happened before approval. Most investors will only connect the dots when the move is half over. Right now, you can read the signals before their headlines, and position before the crowd even realizes what's happening. If you found this breakdown valuable, Hit like so more XRP holders see it, subscribe for daily crypto updates, and comment below. Will BlackRock file for an XRP ETF before or after August 15th?